Hello everyone, my name is Trevor, I go by Mr. Trails, and in today's video we'll be going over the top 5 equipment items in Dauntless that don't work as they're intended. Or at least I believe these things are not working as they're intended. Some of these could be bugs, some of them could just be text that was incorrectly typed, and some of it is just a little bit confusing. But these are just some of the observations that me and some of the other Dauntless scientists have made. Just a quick disclaimer, there is going to be some math in this video. If math is something that gives you the big sad, you may want to ignore what I'm talking about numbers and just focus on the applications of what I'm saying. If you're new around here, I don't force you to watch math all of the time, so check out some of my other videos and see if those are more your speed. And if you enjoy yourself, whether it be on this video that has math in it or another type of video, consider subscribing to the channel. I post Dauntless content at least once per week, and if you enjoyed Dauntless content to begin with, having more of it wouldn't be too bad, would it? So we're going to start off by talking about a couple of the tonics in the game. The Bulwark tonic is going to be the first one up on our list. I mean, I guess these things aren't specifically ordered, but you know, we have a list. So damage resistance itself doesn't quite work how you think it does. And this is something I made a mistake of recently when I was doing the math on my low life video when talking about Iceborne, because I forgot that there was a function that you applied to damage reduction that makes it not reduced damage taken. At least the full percent anyway. Because to get the damage taken, you have to put your percentage of damage resistance into the formula 1 over 1 plus damage resistance. This is just to prevent a damage resistance of 100% to result in 0 damage taken. Now, I'm not really going to bore you with those numbers because that's not why we're actually going to be talking about Bulwark tonics. Why we're going to be talking about Bulwark tonics are because they are currently the only tonic in the game that doesn't claim to have a set time duration of its effect, but instead it's supposed to last for 3 hits. This part I do believe is not intended and is actually a bug, but there is a duration that this will last for. And that duration is only 30 seconds. Whether or not the duration refreshes after you get hit, I'm unsure. I'm also unsure as to why this duration now exists, but my guess is it's going to be something in the coding for Catalyst that set a default duration to the tonic of 30 seconds. The 30-second duration of it is affected by Catalyst, which will increase it to 48 seconds at +6 Catalyst, which I find interesting as, again, the potion does not claim to have a duration. The application we're going to have here is to make sure to only pop your Bulwark tonics when you are actually fighting the behemoth. There's another interesting interaction with Catalyst when it comes to the Blitz tonic. This is something that I pondered before Catalyst came out and something that turned out to be true. So Blitz tonic claims to have a maximum attack speed of 30%, and you see this when you're under 5% HP. However, the way that this is implemented prevents it from being very nutty with Catalyst. How it works is you have a base attack speed increase of 10%, and an attack speed stack is granted to you for every 5% HP missing up to 20 stacks when under 5% HP, worth 1% of attack speed each. The sad part in all of this is that Catalyst does not affect the speed stacks granted in any way. If you care about how I tested this to discover it, pause the video and read the screenshot. But this means it only affects the base 10% increase, taking you up to 16% minimum attack speed and a 36% maximum attack speed when at Catalyst +6. This is upsetting as it wasn't quite the 48% attack speed boost some of us were hoping for. And it's odd that this is the case since Frenzy tonic, having a similar mechanic, does actually get bumped to 48% during the Behemoth Enrage. So unfortunately, Blitz tonic was given the short stick on this one. Moving on, we have Cyclonic Strike Plate. Now, this is a case where the wording of the mod description was either put in incorrectly or is a bug doing something naughty. Cyclonic Strike Plate claims to do plus 15% damage when in reality it's only giving plus 15% part damage. I can show this by just repeatedly hitting the training dummies with light attacks. You can see that my core damage and part damage actually increment together until the bonus provided from Strike Plate becomes active. This has a very important application where if it was 15% core damage, it'd be the only mod worth using on strikers. However, since it is only part damage, you'll will actually experience faster kill times with the Echo Brace Driver mod. I tested on a lesser Embermane to make sure that it was only the part damage getting increased and not the total displayed damage, which we'll get to why that's important in a little bit. Next, we're going to have the Antique Clip mod for hammers. Antique Clip's wording says it increases your bonus from Aether Charged ammo by 300%. You gain Aether Charged ammo after successfully completing an Aether Slam at the end of one of your combos. This is a case of a grammatical error because it actually increases to 300% and not by 300%. Or, you know, it's just another bug and it's actually supposed to increase by 300% but only increases to 300%. We can demonstrate that with this test. So the regular bonus from Aether Charged ammo is 75%, and if we take the base damage numbers for Molten Edict fireballs, for example, a regular Aether Charged fireball would deal 297.5 base damage, whereas the Antique Clips ammo will deal 510 base damage. If the increase were as the wording is stated, we would see 680 base damage from the fireball. And as you can see on the screen, my Molten Edict Aether Charged ammo without Antique Clip is doing 333 damage, whereas with Antique Clip it's only doing 572 damage. And if we do the math on that, that means running without a mod on the hammer is actually better than running with Antique Clip. And this is why the Extended Clip mod is the go-to hammer mod, because it allows you to be able to prime attacks without sacrificing potential damage from your Aether Slams. And you get 6 ammo with no kind of drawbacks, whereas with Antique Clip you get 2 ammo with a drawback. So you're honestly just better off ignoring that this is even in the Lady Luck shop. And the last thing we are going to be talking about today is the Marksman chamber on repeaters. So the wording on this is funky in the sense that it could be interpreted in 2 different ways. You could either interpret this as the marked part receives extra part damage, or read it as doing extra core damage to the behemoth when hitting that part. And both of these are actually correct. You see, the Marksman chamber actually increases the displayed damage dealt. What this means is when you see that you're doing part damage, you'll be doing extra part damage, and when you see you're doing more core damage, you are doing more core damage. As I demonstrate here, when you are doing the extra part damage, you are not actually doing extra core damage to the behemoth. You can see that without the chamber attack, it hits for the same part and core damage, but once you use the Marksman chamber, the part damage starts climbing. But as you can see on this lesser Embermane, both my part damage before the break as well as my core damage after the break are the same. So let's break this down slowly. When I start off my attacks, I'm dealing 118 of both core and part damage. As I hit the target with the Marksman chamber, a non-empowered shot starts dealing 165 part damage, but the core damage is still going to be at 118. However, after the part break, you can see that my core damage now becomes 165. The application of this is that when you're using the Marksman chamber, if you want the hunt to end more quickly, you should keep hitting broken parts with your mark. But that is going to wrap up today's video. If you may have noticed anything else weird going on with your equipment that you don't think is intended, I mean, like besides the sword crashing your game bug, you know, drop it in the comments. If you guys somehow made it to the end of the video with all of the math in the way and you aren't a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel for more Dauntless and not math related content every week. My name is Trevor, I have been Mr. Trails, and I'll catch you guys next time.